What's up guys, today's video on the top 5 graphics cards reviews. Through intensive research and testing we put together listed options. They will meet different types of buyers, so whether it's price, performance or particular use, we covered all. For more information on products I have included the links in description box down below which you updated for best price. 5. EVGA GeForce RTX 3050 XC. EVGA is one of the most respected names in the business for high-end hardware, but that doesn't mean they can't do more affordable products too. The new entry-level RTX cards are here, and I have the EVGA RTX 3050 XC Black 8GB on my test bench to find out what it can do. The RTX 3050 is the first time an XX50 class card has featured ray tracing, so it'll certainly be interesting to see what that can do. Of course, RTX is more than just ray tracing, and you'll benefit from features like DLSS, reflex, broadcast and other Nvidia technologies. With this new GPU launching just a week after AMD launched their new entry-level model, I'm eager to see how the two compare. However, with Nvidia using 8GB of RAM and AMD just 4GB, I'm sure Nvidia will take the lead. However, the Nvidia cards will also be more expensive as a result, so it's a tricky thing to balance. EVGA RTX 3050 XC Black. The EVGA GeForce RTX 3050 XC Black features a streamlined design, with a pair of huge fans to help keep things nice and cool. The fans run pretty much edge to edge, with a side and backplate design that's going to help exhaust heat with ease. A 0 RPM fan mode means things will be completely silent when the card isn't being maxed out, and the shorter PCB will make it a prime choice for more compact PC builds. EVGA has a strong reputation for high performance, albeit often at a higher price too. However, I'm expecting big things from this little card when it comes to our benchmarks. Features Nvidia Ampere streaming multiprocessors, 2nd generation RT cores, 3rd generation Tensor cores, powered by GeForce RTX 3050, integrated with 8GB GDDR6 128-bit memory interface. Budget graphics card remains an oxymoronic term here in 2022. But it all depends on where you draw the budget line. At least on list price, Nvidia is making an effort. For ASUS Youth Gaming Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060. Under the hood, the ASUS Youth uses the same core technical configuration as all GeForce RTX 3060 graphics cards, with 4864 CUDA cores, 38 dedicated 2nd-gen ray tracing cores, and 8 EROPs. The setup is powerful enough to topple last generation's RTX 2080 Super, a ferocious graphics card that cost twice as much. Nvidia paired the GPU itself with 8GB of GDDR6 memory over a 256-bit bus, for a total memory bandwidth of 448GB per second. ASUS juiced clock speeds a bit on the UFOC, pushing it to a 1755 MHz boost clock and a 1410 MHz base clock, as you'll see in our gaming benchmarks. However, the added frequency doesn't really translate to any performance difference. The big draw here is the custom cooler. You can literally see why ASUS charges a premium for the TIFF in this segment. It's significantly larger than Nvidia's Founders Edition model. While the Founders Edition measures 9.5 inches long and 3.75 inches wide in a standard 2-slot design, the pleasantly plump ASUS TIFF RTX 3060 falls a hair under 12 inches long and a full inch wider. It's also thicker, expanding to fill 2.7 slots, though to be honest, high-end graphics cards tend to be bigger than 2 slots more often than not these days. ASUS stuffed all that space with cooling. The TIFF 3060 includes a massive aluminum heatsink bristling with heat pipes. A polished cold plate provides coverage for the memory modules as well, with the help of well-placed thermal pads. The black shroud is also aluminum and holds a trio of axial fans with 9 blades apiece and dual ball bearings. The fans stop spinning when GPU temperatures fall below 55 degrees Celsius, ensuring silence while you're engaged in lower intensity activities on your desktop. 3GB GeForce RTX 3070. Gigabyte sent us its GeForce RTX 3070 gaming OC. Its affordable custom-designed graphics card based on Nvidia's third and most important GeForce RTX 30 series Ampere graphics card launched so far. Gigabyte carries forward its tradition of clean, understated custom designs focusing on low noise and compatibility. The card is targeted at everyone who just wants the RTX 3070 for its gaming performance, and who just installs the card and forgets about it. In that sense, the Gigabyte Gaming OC shares the same goals as the Zotac Twin Edge OC, but takes a different approach of putting on some lengths in the pursuit of making the card strictly full height. You also get a decent factory overclock to boot. Nvidia's second silicon based on the GeForce Ampere graphics architecture, the GA104, debuts with the GeForce RTX 3070. This chip is significantly smaller than the big GA102 that's at the heart of both the RTX 3080 and RTX 3090. Despite that, the RTX 3070 is equipped with more, and faster, queued cores than even the previous generation flagship RTX 2080 was built to do just this. The Gigabyte RTX 3070 gaming OC, as we explained, is a sincere custom job on the RTX 3070 with a large triple fan WindForce 3X cooling solution rated for much higher thermal to MSI Gaming Radeon RX 6700 XT. AMD launched its latest RDNA architecture in the summer of 2019 with the Radeon RX 5700 XT and RX 5700. The faster XT variant performed well, beating out Nvidia's RTX 2060 Super by an average of around 10% at the time, with the non-XT 5700 not far behind. Although it used more power than the RTX 2060 Super, the flagship XT offered smooth gameplay at 1440p and is a viable alternative to the ray tracing-capable RTX 2060 Super at the same $400 price point. These new AMD cards planted a flag in the mid-range segment, putting Team Green on notice. Flash forward to October, when AMD announced the RX 5500 series cards would be released, targeting the budget market. Since then, we've seen Nvidia update its mainstream touring lineup, releasing a super variants of the GTX 1660 and GTX 1650. These cards offered more performance previous iterations, filling in the performance gaps between the SKUs with only a small increase in price. AMD's 5500 series cards will come either 4GB or 8GB of GDDR6 memory. The 4GB variant sits on the 128-bit bus, with reference speeds of 1750 MHz, 14 Gbps GDDR6 effective. The 8GB card retains the same specifications, but with a higher memory capacity. Later on, we'll see in some games the 4GB card be tested is notably slower when using ultra settings. Power consumption on the 7nm 4GB part comes in at 130 watts in reference form, with the 8GB card sporting increased power targets for the additional memory. Many partner cards could raise that of one ASUS Youth Gaming Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070 Ti, while it's more than likely you're still holding out to actually purchase one at a reasonable price. It's time for yet another graphics card. Nvidia launched the GeForce RTX 3070 Ti in May 2021 as a slightly beefier version of the RTX 3070. After the miserable RTX 3080 Ti launch, which was essentially a slightly handicapped RTX 3090, expectations for this new TGPU were low. ASUS was kind enough to ship us the company's youth gaming GeForce RTX 3070 Ti for review. After a good many hours of playing, testing, games and a few synthetic benchmarks to see how the card runs inside a chassis, is the RTX 3070 Ti as terrible as the 3080 Ti in terms of value, or is it somehow a contender for best graphics card? The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070 Ti is essentially the same as the non-Ti RTX 3070, but with slightly higher clock speeds and faster memory. The upgraded GDDR6X RAM allows for a total bandwidth of 608 GB per second, which is a substantial improvement over the RTX 3070. That's about it for the improvements, which is why the RTX 3070 is a slight disappointment to many on paper. All of this requires a slightly beefier PSU and adequate case cooling, thanks to an increased power thermal design power of 290 watts. But one shouldn't overlook it if gaming card. This RTX 3070 from ASUS is a beast on paper, surpassing the set clock speeds by Nvidia thanks to easy overclocking. It's also rocking a tri-fan setup to help keep the memory, chip, and all other internal parts cooler under heavy. So that's it for the best 5 graphics cards. Thanks for watching video. Do subscribe for more amazing videos and hit like button, comment below and share with your friends.